Hi guys, it is Tiny Little Whispers ASMR. I have another true crime case for you guys today. Today's case is about the disappearance of Mike Tlusty. Once again, I have my computer off on the bottom side of my camera. So if I'm looking down a lot, that is why. So, Laura Law and Mike Tlusty lived together in Arkdale, Wisconsin. They had been dating for 11 years. Mike had a cousin named Denise, and Denise and Laura were best friends. Denise and her husband often hung out at the home that Laura and Mike shared together. On March 26th in the year 2001, Mike found out that Laura had gone gambling with Denise and her mother at a nearby casino. That night, Mike disappeared and was not seen. Denise soon realized that Mike had gone missing, and she questioned his girlfriend Laura about the disappearance. Laura claimed that Mike had been extremely depressed, and she said she thought something seemed off about him. Laura said that when she returned home from the casino on March 26th, Mike had packed some clothes in a bag along with $73,000 in cash. Laura said he left on foot and that he left at some point in the middle of the night. 2 weeks after Mike's disappearance, Laura told Denise that she had finally heard from him. Laura claimed that Mike had called her and said he was out west. After this, Laura said she had never heard anything else from Mike. Laura and Mike ran a business together, so he did not work in your typical office where people would easily notice that he was missing. So no one noticed that Mike had gone officially missing until about 4 months after he initially had walked off. At first, Denise was not extremely concerned with Mike's disappearance since Laura had heard from him. But after a while, Denise grew concerned as Mike had not contacted any of his family to Mike's parents and tell them what had been going on. Denise thought that Laura was embarrassed to tell people that Mike had left her, and she believed this is why Laura was hesitant about telling Mike's family and friends about his disappearance. Laura then told Denise she would tell Mike's parents that he went up to Canada. Denise immediately grew concerned as she realized Laura was lying. The last Laura had heard from Mike was that he was somewhere out west. Denise was extremely confused as to why Laura stated that Mike was in Canada. She asked Laura her reasoning behind the fib and asked if she had heard from Mike again. Laura said she still had not heard from Mike after he initially told her he had headed out west. Denise then told Laura she should not lie to his family in regards to his current location. Laura left the conversation and went ahead and lied to Mike's parents and family, saying that he had left and gone up to Canada. She then said he never returned. At this point, Denise became extremely suspicious of Laura, and Denise thought that Laura might have had something to do with Mike's disappearance. Laura and Mike had a nice shed on their property, and in this shed they stored some items for Denise and her husband. One of the items that they stored for them was a set of snowmobiles. So around 4 months after Mike's disappearance, after Laura had told his family he had gone to Canada, Denise requested entry to the shed on Laura and Mike's property in order to get out her snowmobiles. When she got to the shed, Denise realized that Laura had changed the locks on the shed, and Denise was unable to get inside. Denise confronted Laura about the issue and asked to retrieve her snowmobiles that day, but Laura flat out refused. Denise eventually left the property after threatening to cut the locks off of the shed and remove the snowmobiles herself. After Denise had left the property, Laura went inside the shed and moved the snowmobiles outside. She then called Denise and told her the snowmobiles were available for pickup. Denise was already concerned that Laura had something to do with Mike's disappearance, but she grew even more concerned after Laura would not let her in the shed. Denise began to believe that something bad had happened in the area of the shed. After this incident with Denise trying to get her snowmobiles out of the shed, Mike's brother reported him as missing to the police. Soon, an investigator went out to Mike and Laura's home to talk with Laura about her last interactions with Mike on the night he left. When the investigator was there, he spoke with Laura, and she stated once again that Mike had left after she returned home from the casino. The investigator asked if he could take a look around the house and the surrounding property. Laura allowed the investigator to look around inside their home and around most of the property. But when the investigator reached the shed area, she would not let him inside. She claimed that she had recently started renting the shed out to someone else, and she did not think it was right if someone was to enter. The investigator eventually left, but later that day he was unable to contact Laura. It turns out Laura Law had vanished herself. She had fled from her town in Wisconsin. The investigator immediately believed that Denise was correct and thought that they needed to search the shed thoroughly. Now, I'm not sure why this took so long, but it took several months for the police to obtain a search warrant for the property of Mike and Laura. It could have something to do with the fact that Laura was missing, and maybe they were giving her a chance to show back up. But after some time, the search warrant was issued. On January 22nd of 2002, the police went to search the home and shed of Mike and Laura. When the police entered the shed, they immediately smelled a foul odor. Upon further inspection, they were able to find the remains of Mike Tlusty. Mike's body had been wrapped in several blue blankets and then wrapped again in plastic wrap. He had one single gunshot to the back of his head. The was shot on the night of March 26th when Laura came back from the casino. Even though Laura was still missing at this point in time, the police decided to investigate their relationship further. It was found that Laura had a major gambling problem. The police then pieced together several things and figured that Mike was planning on leaving Laura due to her gambling issue. The police then believe that Laura shot Mike out of anger. The police immediately put out information on Laura Law and asked the public to help locate her. She had not been in contact with anyone of her family members or friends back in Wisconsin since she had left several months earlier. At this point, the FBI began working the case as they were searching for Laura Law. Eventually, the FBI received a tip that Laura was working at a hotel in downtown Nashville. On July 16th, in 2002, when Laura showed up at the hotel for work that day, she was immediately arrested. Laura initially claimed that she was innocent and she had not shot Mike. In 2003, Laura eventually pled guilty to the murder of her boyfriend, Mike, back in 2001. Laura Law was then sentenced to 24 years in prison, and Laura will be eligible for parole in the year 2026. I know it was a bit of a shorter true crime story for you guys today, but I hope you enjoyed this story. I find it crazy that Laura was only sentenced to 25 years when she definitely knew that Mike was left in the shed. It's always so strange to be able to see a suspected or convicted murderer end up getting to go free from jail. Overall, I hope you guys are nice and comfortable and feel a lot more relaxed now. Thank you for watching.